Hey, Shalom, Akim. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Ha-Rakah Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth. And also want to acknowledge Allah Akim for pushing this truth with sincerity. Alright, so the Spirit had me today reading about when the Israelites were needing to pass through Edom, and Edom, refused us passage. They didn't let us go through the land of Edom after we had left Egypt. All right, so let me go ahead and get in it. This is Numbers 20 and 14. And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thus saith thy brother Israel, thou knowest all the travail that hath befallen us. So basically Moses is telling the king of Edom, hey, they know all the hardships that the Israelites had to go through in Egypt and how tough it was, and how oppressed they were. In a plea for mercy to cross through Edom. All right. And let me just pull up the map real quick so you could see Edom. So here it is. There's Edom and Moab, the yellow and purple on the map here. So, if you could imagine, they're coming from Egypt down south, which you can't see in this map, and trying to get up here to the kingdom of Judah and kingdom of Israel. But obviously these Edomites, they were haters on our people. They've always hated our people, and they didn't let them cross. And the same thing goes for Moab. Moab didn't let them cross either, as we're about to read. But just wanted to show you a map to give you an idea. And I looked up the city Kadesh, and I couldn't find too much information online. So I'm not exactly sure where that city was. But I'll go back to the scripts. It says, verse 15, how our fathers went down into Egypt, and we dwelt in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians vexed us and our fathers. All right, let's go to precept. Genesis 46 and 6. This is basically dealing with when Jacob took all of his sons to Egypt after the famine in Canaan. It says, and they took their cattle and their goods, which they had gotten in the land of Canaan, and came into Egypt, Jacob and all his seed with him. His sons and his sons' sons with him, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all his seed brought he with him unto Egypt. So Jacob took all of the Israelites to Egypt because of the famine. Go to another precept. Exodus 12 and 40. It says, now the sojourning of the sons of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. And it came to pass at the end of 430 years, even the selfsame day it came to pass, that all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. It is a night to be much observed unto the Yahweh for bringing them out of the land of Egypt. This is the night of Yahweh to be observed of all the children of Israel in their generations. And that night it's talking about is the Passover, all right, when our people left Egypt. Go back to Numbers 20. Oops. 20 and we're at 15. And it says, actually we're at 16. And when we cried unto Yahweh, he heard our voice and sent an angel and hath brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy border. All right, so Kadesh was close to the border of Edom. But like I say, on that map, it doesn't show that city. Let me go to this precept again. Exodus 14 and 19. It says, and the angel of Yahweh, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud went from before their face, and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel, and it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these, so that the one came not near the other all the night. And these are actually dealing with chariots. All right, so the angel of the Lord that delivered the Israelites out of Egypt was the chariot. The chariot is what split the Red Sea so that they could cross, the so-called UFO. All right, let me go to Exodus again, 23 and 20. And it says, behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. All right. So again, dealing with the chariot. All right, let me go back to Numbers 20 and 17. It says, let us pass, I pray thee, through thy country. We will not pass through the fields or through the vineyards, neither will we drink of the water of the wells. We will go by the king's highway. We will not turn to the right hand nor to the left until we have passed thy borders. So, Moses was compromising. He's saying, hey, we ain't going to do nothing. We ain't going to touch the land. We ain't going to touch the resources. We're just going to go pass through. We just need to go pass through the land of Edom. Let's see what Edom said. And Edom said unto him, thou shalt not pass by me, lest I come out against thee with this sword. And that's just like Edom, right? That's his blessing. Let's see if I remember. It's 27 and 40. Genesis 27 and 40 precept. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then I will slay my brother Jacob. So, the first thing that Edom did when the Israelites were trying to pass through the land of Edom is he threatened them with the sword, meaning they was going to kill him. So it is nothing new under the sun. That's the spirit of the Edomites. And that's why, you should never trust thy enemy, the Bible tells you, But Israelites have compassion. We naturally have compassion, and we fall into that bullshit where we start trusting these Edomites, and then you end up getting fucked over in the long run, But that's the nature of our people. They have compassion, unlike Edomites. All right. So let's go back to Numbers 20 and 18 is what I just read. We'll read it again. And Edom said unto him, thou shalt not pass by me, lest I come out against thee with a sword. All right, so that's what Esau's good at, man. He's good at using his blessing, which is the sword. And the children, verse 19, and the children of Israel said unto him, We will go by the highway, and if I and my cattle drink of thy water, then I will pay for it. I will only, without doing anything else, go through on my feet. And he said, Thou shalt not go through. And Edom came out against him with much people and with a strong hand. All right, so Edom wasn't having it, man. The Edomites didn't want to let our people go through their land, all right, to get to, let's look at the map again. See where it says, oh shit, let me see. It says Kingdom of Israel, Kingdom of Judah. They didn't want to let us cross through there. See, they didn't trust the Israelites. They've always hated the Israelites. It goes back to what I just read in Genesis, that Esau said, I'm going to slay my brother. And he's still going to slay his brother to this day. You know? Let's go find the perpetual hatred that Edom has for the Israelites. Ezekiel 35 and 5. And this is dealing with Mount Seir. You know, it says verse 3, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, O Mount Seir, which is Edom, because that's where they dwelt. The Edomites lived in Mount Seir. I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. That's talking about in America. Verse 4, I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh. Verse 5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the sons of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh the power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. All right, so, it's all going to come back on Edom at the end of the day, On the last day, matter of fact, on the day of wrath, we know Edom's fate. Let me go back to Numbers 20, and we're at verse 20. It says, And he said, Thou shalt not go through. And Edom came out against him with much people and with a strong hand. All right, let's go to a precept. Judges 11:17. It says, Then Israel sent messengers unto the king of Edom, saying, Let me, I pray thee, pass through thy land. But the king of Edom would not hearken thereto. And in like manner they sent unto the king of Moab, but he would not consent, and Israel abode in Kadesh. Then they went along through the wilderness, and compassed the land of Edom and the land of Moab, and came by the east side of the land of Moab, and pitched other side of Arnon, but came not within the border of Moab, for Arnon was the border of Moab. So let's go back to this map. All right. So if you look they were on the east side of Moab, which would have been on the right side of the picture here. And because Moab nor Edom would let our people go pass through, you see, we're trying to get here to Israel, the kingdom of Judah. But these haters, who are our enemies, they didn't want to let us pass. You see, they're confederate against us. All right, let's go to that real quick. Popular verse, you should know this verse already. Where our enemies, the list of our enemies are, is in Psalms 83. We'll start at 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. The hidden ones are the Israelites. They have said, come and let us cut them from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, meaning together. 6. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. So it shows you Hamites in there, Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites. All of these nations are against our people, all right? The Bible tells us those are our enemies. And it's in their spirit to be that way, to be haters among, they hate the Israelites. Let's go to another precept. Amos 1 and 11 says, thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and he did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. So you see, Edom has always had the wrath against us, and they're going to keep that wrath forever. So that's why, you got to be awake to what this Edomite is doing, Let's see where this is at. Ecclesiasticus 12:10. All right, that's okay. We go to the Apocrypha. Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Well, let's keep reading. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed, and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass. And thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? Right? So who's going to pity the Israelites when you trust the serpent? Why should you have pity on that person? Because verse 10 said, never trust thine enemy. And we read in Psalms 83 and starting at 2 that, a list of our enemies. So the Bible tells us we are not to trust our enemies. We're not to trust, not even Donald Trump, he's an Edomite. He's going to set up martial law to destroy you Israelites. He's going to set up his New World Order, enforcing his microchip and his vaccines, which are both against the laws of our power. Those are again, you separate yourself from Yahweh, you cut off your soul from Yahweh if you take part in any of that. Especially the microchip, Let me see. Trying to find a certain verse. But here we go. First Maccabees and 1:30 says, this is dealing with Antiochus, King Antiochus, who was one of the early rulers of Greece, right after Alexander the Greek, which Donald Trump has the same spirit of Antiochus. All right, both Edomites, both have perpetual hatred towards Israel. All right, that's why they didn't let you. That's why they didn't let us pass. Through Edom. And First Maccabees 1:30 says, and spake. Let me see. Yeah, we'll just read that. And spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city, and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. All right. So you're not to trust your enemies, you Israelites. You trust in this Edomite. You let him put that microchip in you. You let him put that vaccine in you, and you're as good as dead, man. So you can't trust your enemy. He didn't trust you to walk through his land. So now why are you going to trust him to put a vaccine in or a microchip in you? That's why we stay diligent in this truth, because we need to build up our spirit and constantly be reminded that we're dealing with a serpent. You can't trust these Edomites, man. But with that, I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Before I close out, I want to go back to Numbers, make sure I read the last verse I wanted to read was 21, and it says, thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his border, wherefore Israel turned away from him. All right, so at the end of the day, they didn't let us pass. All right, and why? Because they're our enemies. These Edomites, they know you're the enemy. That's why whenever an Edomite gets a chance, they to talk shit about an Israelite, like when a celebrity, like I'll say Michael Vick for example, when he when he had his dirt with his dog fighting, hey man, that was a ample opportunity for all these Edomites to jump on the bandwagon and start talking shit. They just waiting for a reason to talk shit about the Israelites. Another example, R. Kelly. Those brothers are demonized. Through this society, and whenever an Israelite is demonized, man, the Edomites jump on that opportunity. Why? It's because they are your enemy. The Bible calls the so-called white man your enemy. All right. The sooner you believe that and find out that that's the truth, the better off you will be. All right. But you 2/3, you heathen, you guys give all credit to the Edomite, and that's why you're gonna let him chip you. But the brothers who are in this truth, diligent, and the people who listen to our videos, for not just for the purpose of entertainment, but for actual edification and are sincere, hey, you're gonna have that spirit, Lord willing, to not take that microchip. All right. But with that, I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ha-Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles, a great millstone, for teaching us this truth. And I also want to acknowledge all the Akyam pushing this truth with sincerity. All right. Shalom to the elect.